Almost 300 young children kidnapped from a school. Have you heard about this? My colleague Gavin Ashenden is going to talk about this. What's going on in Nigeria? How over 100,000 people have been killed in the last years, and how 300 young school children were kidnapped from a Christian school there. He has a theory why the mainstream media is not covering this. So let's listen to Gavin, and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. We've got a lot of great videos coming up.
Hello, I'm Gavin Ashenden. This is Reclaiming Christendom, and these are dispatches from the UK. Well, at least I'm going to use them as a springboard from the UK to look at Nigeria, because a few days ago, an acquaintance of mine called Tim Stanley, who writes for the Daily Telegraph, wrote a lead article talking about the silent murder of Nigerian Christians. He talked about the fact that only a few days before that, a number of girls had been kidnapped yet again from a Nigerian Catholic diocese. So I'll be writing about it as well. I think it's incumbent upon all of us to do so, because the media are entirely silent about the fate of Nigerian Christians and the fact that it is the religion of peace that's a Irish president, when he was asked about this, attributed the killing, the murdering, the martyrdom of Nigerian Christians to climate change. One of the things the media has done is to say that there's a pressure on land from the change of the climate, and that pressure is driving some groups of no particular partisanship, they say, to kill other groups of no particular partisanship, they say, because they want their land. Actually, it's not climate change, it's not the land, it is the religion of peace killing Catholic Christians. I'd like to tell you how I first found out about this a few years ago. I was at a pilgrimage in Rome, and I'd just been watching a video which had moved me immensely. I hadn't yet become a Catholic, but I was very close to it. And in this video, I saw a Nigerian bishop, Bishop Oliver Doeme, talk about a vision of Jesus he'd had on a Saturday night as he was praying, as he was wont to do in front of the Blessed Sacrament. He saw Jesus, and he was surprised because Jesus was carrying a sword, and this was unique. And then Jesus came carrying the sword and put it in the bishop's hands. And as he put it into his hands, it turned into a rosary. And then he said, Boko Haram is finished. 3 times. The bishop had a video done about this, and in a very simple way, he explained he was just an ordinary bishop, a naughty bishop, a sinner like everyone else. He hadn't earned this vision. Jesus had given it to him as a gift, but it was a gift to alert the diocese to ask for the intercession of Our Lady and to pray the Rosary. As it happened, a few months later, I was in Rome translating on a pilgrimage into, again, as it happened, to French for the Francophiles on the pilgrimage, rather badly. I didn't know who was the main speaker. I'd never seen his name. I didn't recognize it. And he had a fairly thick accent, African accent. And I was alarmed of what I had to do until about 10 seconds in. I realized this was the bishop. This was my bishop. This is the YouTube bishop. This was Rosary Bishop. And so I knew what the story was. And as it happened, I had a rosary in my pocket. And as the bishop finished the story and brandished his rosary aloft, so did I, in a dramatic moment. Now, pleasant though that story is, and we'll put the link to the original video in the show notes here, the suffering is appalling. Let me give you the figures. It was in 2014 that 200 schoolgirls from Chibok, Bishop Oliver's diocese, were kidnapped by Boko Haram. A few days ago, on the 21st of November, 303 students and 12 teachers were kidnapped. That's this month. Days before that, 25 schoolgirls were abducted from a secondary school in Kebbi State. The West ignores it. It's not reported. Wonderfully, Tim Stanley did, and I'd like to read you the conclusion of his article. It's very moving. This is from the Daily Telegraph. Never mind that Nigerian Christians are crying for help, insisting ethnic cleansing is taking place even as journalists verify that it didn't. When woke Westerners say we must respect people's lived experience, they seem to refer exclusively to themselves, not to the Congolese whose throats were slit in the clinic by Islamists on the 14th of November this year, not to Christians being locked up in Armenia, not to the hundreds in Pakistan's jails imprisoned on suspicion of Islamic blasphemy. These have somehow slipped down the list of concerns, even though their cause ought to be our own, because the West is what it is, only because of Christianity. What can we do about this as we want to defend and reclaim Christendom? Well, we can tell the truth. Fortunately, the mainstream media have much less influence nowadays, and we have more. But it depends on you. It depends on you taking videos like this and putting your name to them, forwarding them amongst friends, putting them on your social media, so that other people who have no idea what's really going on can hear the news and make up their own minds, cross-reference, check, see if this is really the case. Is there a Tim Stanley? Is there a Daily Telegraph? Is there a Bishop Oliver? And find out for themselves. We continue to say our prayers, but there are two things we do. We get on our knees and we tell the truth. God help these girls and their parents. God help the Catholic communities they come from. God help the Nigerian Christians who are suffering at the most enormous rate. Deaths that are hard to believe when you come across the statistics. We find that there are more Christians being killed in Nigeria at the moment than anywhere else in the world. See if you can help in terms of the way you can make this kind of information public. And at least we might get people talking about it. And when people talk about it, the politicians take notice. When the politicians take notice, some things happen. God bless you.
So as you heard from Gavin, we all need to publicize what is going on in Nigeria to help stop these horrific events. It's up to each of us to do our part to help stop the slaughter. So please get the word out there and contribute. Again, we appreciate all of you. We'd love to hear your comments below. Tell us what you think. And don't forget to like and subscribe. We've got a lot of great videos coming and we want you part of it. Thank you and God bless.